What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Isaac, aka The Baddest, and today we are going to analyze every FNAF Plus video teaser. I said I'd do this after my image teaser video, and although this is one of the most tedious videos I've ever had to make, I do really like talking about this game, and I will deliver on my promise. One thing I will not be mentioning is that every description has a character, and teaser number 2, 4, and 6 all have hidden characters, but not all of them I'm going to talk about because they ended up making a link to teaser number 6B, which is no longer unlisted. So if you notice that I don't mention characters on screen or all the details of descriptions, that's why. It's just not really worth talking about anymore because they don't have any other secrets, and the secret that they delivered is already public, and I'm going to be talking about that teaser anyway. Let's get this over with before I die. This teaser shows off FNAF Plus's recreation of the dining area. Bonnie also comes into frame for a while, and he's what closes the teaser with a close-up. There's definitely the least to say about this one. Not only is there nothing to discuss, I just don't really like this one. It's the only one that's in 480p, and I'm not normally someone that cares about the resolution, but this is the remake of Five Nights at Freddy's, and it would have been nice to get a clearer look at the setting. Even Bonnie doesn't really look all that great because of the framing and the close-up and the lower quality. He kind of ends up looking exactly like the regular FNAF 1 Bonnie. There's not much to talk about yet, but since Bonnie is what ends up closing the teaser, we will actually be building up off of this much later into the video though. Moving on to the second one, once again, there are some hidden characters throughout the transition screens, but it's not really worth talking about anymore because they ended up helping lead to the link. I do appreciate this teaser quite a bit. The animations are just really smooth, and the idea of a routine check for Freddy is a great concept for a teaser for his new model. His audience greeting is also a recreation of his movements in the original 2014 FNAF trailer. As an old school fan, I can really appreciate little details like that. But now, I need to get into the thing I hate the absolute most about this game so far. Freddy's laugh is literally Bowser's laugh from Super Mario 64. This is such a famous laugh sound effect that is so easy to recognize. I have no idea why Phil decided this was a good idea. I just can't take it seriously because it's just so obvious that I know what it is. It's so clear. I really hope this doesn't end up in the final game, but it probably will. I hate it so much in this game. Quiet Hours is another really simple one, but like Routine Check, I can really appreciate it. It's just some footage at Freddy's when the animatronics are not performing. Just gives you a good look at how creepy this location really is. The animatronics are just standing there, and it's actually pretty disturbing, especially Bonnie slumped over in the back. Towards the end of this teaser, Freddy's eyes close and then open again. I think this is just meant to show that the animatronics are possessed and have control, but I have no idea. We will be revisiting this one once again at some point. This next one is actually my personal favorite, and it's because of a reason that someone in my chat brought up during one of my streams. That stream is 3.5 hours long, so unfortunately I cannot give a shout out to the specific person because I literally can't find that exact moment because it lasted about 2 seconds out of 3.5 hours. But you know who you are. They told me that the lyrics were really interesting in terms of how they reflect the FNAF lore, and looking at the lyrics just ended up blowing me away in that moment. Follow me and I'll follow you, and we'll think of a million things we can do. And we let everyone see what the world could be if you just take a chance and follow me. This makes me think of William Afton luring his victims. Since it's coming from the mouth of one of the animatronics, it feels like she's reiterating what Afton told her, or what she thought was happening in the moment. The lyrics are very eerie coming from this setting, and the change in pitch lining up with the lights going out makes this a pretty unsettling teaser. If you watched my last video, then you also know that I think teaser 3 and 4 were both recorded by the same person, and again, we will be revisiting this later in the video. The last 3 teasers are going to take fucking forever to cover, that's why I sort of rushed over the first few. So let's just start this before we all die by the end of this video. In this teaser, we look through Foxy's mask. Once again, you know what I think this means if you watched my last video. To keep it brief, I think the person who recorded teasers number 3 and number 4 is the person that we follow in teaser number 6, which we'll get to. I think this teaser is from the perspective of that same person from teaser number 6 after they got stuffed into Foxy. When this character starts breathing heavily, and especially when they start to run, many images begin to flash on screen. I looked through this frame by frame, and I'll talk about everything that's visible, and I'll try my best to give my best interpretation. The first thing shown is the dining area, which is the location we are in right now in this moment. We also see the exit sign after that, and this is shown many times after, so I won't point it out every single time. We see a few screens from teasers number 3 and number 4, and again that leads me to believe that this person inside the Foxy suit is the one that filmed them. We then see 2 endoskeletons. The second looks way different, almost like Chica actually, but it's not clear enough to examine much further. We see whatever these lines of color are. I don't know if they're lights, chairs, I couldn't tell you, it's way too blurry. We see a fucking jar of eyes, which is quite funny, but we do see this again in parts and service room in the next teaser. Next is a look at the security door, and I can't get over how good this looks. If this is anything like what the game will look like, that'll be incredible. We see the Celebrate poster from The Office, which I love. After that, there's a glowing head, and when it comes up, Freddy's theme starts to play, so I think this is a recreation of when the power goes out in FNAF 1. The puppet shows up for 3 frames, and I don't know what to make of this. We see the puppet in the next teaser as well, and obviously the puppet existed by FNAF 1 in the official timeline, but I don't know how I feel about the puppet being shown in FNAF Plus. I don't think the puppet will have any place in the gameplay of FNAF Plus, but it does seem odd to have it here at all. I also don't really love the look, to be honest. It's obviously more realistic than the original, which is kind of the point, but it just looks too human. It actually looks like a human head in terms of shape. We get this shot of the animatronics on stage. There's a jump scare of Freddy with black eyes. It's somewhat similar to Freddy's jump scare in FNAF 1 when he gets in the room. There's a shot of the hallway. Afterwards, there's an adorable bunny plush in a gift box. Then there's this really nice shot of Pirate's Cove. I love the way the Cove looks in this game thus far. The shade of purple and the contrast of the curtains from the outside edges, it just really pops. I think it looks great. There's whatever the fuck this is. I see yellow, which obviously makes me think of Chica, but I have no idea what's going on here. We see a clock, which does appear to be the frog clock from the image teasers we looked at. There's a shot of Bonnie from teaser number 1. This is then followed by some kids' drawings. We then see parts and service. We do also see the puppet for 1 more frame. We see the missing person poster from the supply closet, which you may remember from the image teaser we looked at. And again, as I said in the last video, this leads me to believe that the one in the Foxy suit is the missing person. And the teaser actually ends with quote-unquote Foxy getting to the exit but not leaving. I'm not 100% sure what this means. We touched upon it in the last video, but I'm not 100% sure what to make of this. This is a great teaser because it packs a lot into 1 minute and 40 seconds. This next teaser is 13 minutes! Oh joy! Just so you guys know, I am currently on page 6 of this script, and we are on the last teaser. This is a 19-page script. That's how much shit we gotta talk about. Although there are some great visuals all over this teaser, I really can't take the time to analyze every single screen, so I will only be acknowledging some of them, and I will generally be focusing on the secrets within, and like I said in the beginning, there are some secrets that reveal characters that make up the URL of teaser number 6B, but since that secret has been solved and is no longer relevant because of that, there is no longer a reason to focus on it. So, some things will not be touched upon, but I'm going to touch upon everything important. This teaser is called Breaking and Entering. We already know, roughly, who broke in and entered, and if you watched my last video, you know what I think some of the specifics are. But I'm going to try to stay objective for the most part. Skipping forward a bit, we get this scene of the parts and service room that flashes a bunch of lines on screen. It won't take a lot for you to notice that these lines have text. There were certainly people that already did this, but I'm dedicated to my job as a FNAF YouTuber, and I personally screenshotted every single line and pieced it together. What I had to do was flip them horizontally, and I also used a structure tool to make them a little more bold to make the characters stand out. This is the order they were presented in, and what it looked like when I captured and flipped them all. I was then able to use the way the characters lined up to piece together coherent stanzas. Then I organized it into the order that made the most sense. I could have just asked Reddit for this, but I did it myself. Although I did need other people's help for some stuff later on, but we'll get to that. Let's read this to the best of our abilities. Dear employee name, a handyman has been called to work on repairs for the surveillance camera that was damaged last night. Our intern has also already ensured the appropriate replacement of sensitive material related to your mistake, a clean video feed archive of Cam 1B, the dining hall, that will be used as a substitute for the missing portion of footage left on the tape. We would like to remind you that as current night watchman of the restaurant, you are required to notify us of any documented irregularities during your shift and provide us with the name and timestamp of the footage for prompt review. Keep in mind that although Fazbear Entertainment values the safety and comfort of our staff, we also value our company property just as much. Please make sure to take the necessary steps to prevent accidents like these from repeating in the future. The cost of repairs and maintenance for Cam 1B will also be deducted from your next paycheck. Thank you, management. So to break this down, I don't think there's any way to prove what happened to Cam 1B, but with the teasers that we have, I think this is a pretty decent assumption. I think that Bonnie damaged it, because Cam 1B watches the dining area, and teaser number 1 ends with Bonnie being right by the camera in the dining area. So the night guard, which is probably specifically our character in the game, is being blamed for damaging the camera, but I think that Bonnie did it in this teaser. Aside from that, I'm not sure if there's much to analyze, but I will give some credit to Fiznum for how well this secret was implemented into the teaser. After the lines of text are flashed in this scene, something seems to run through the door. There's absolutely no way to get a clear look at what this is, but we know by the end of the teaser that this is actually the person that broke in, and we'll see that later. The next scene takes place in the dining area. We are shown a notebook that has a series of short writings and illustrations. The first one says, "The Paranormal Investigators featuring the Ghost Hunter." We know that this is because a teenager broke into Freddy's to investigate the place for a film. The notes are then flipped to say, "File number 6, Late Night at Freddy Fazbear's." I don't know what files 1 through 5 were, but maybe it's just because this is the 6th teaser? I don't know. The next one says, "Mysteries 1. Robots are moving at night. 2. Behind the pirate's curtains. 3. Guards or live bait. Very suspicious. 4. What's in that huge box?" Once again, we do know that this is specifically a teenager. We've seen in FNAF 4, for example, that there are kids that tell scary stories about Freddy's, so it's not super out of the ordinary. But obviously the first 3 leads me to believe that this is a kid that saw something. Again, I personally believe that this is the same kid that recorded teasers number 3 and number 4, and I think whatever they saw took place after those videos. The 4th is obviously about the puppet, and I guess this means that the puppet is present in this location, which again is kind of weird, but, you know, I guess it's fine. I do like the puppet, of course, and I guess it makes sense. The next note is a list of investigation gear that consists of a flashlight, a ghost detector, and Dad's camcorder. The camera then zooms in and out on the ghost detector drawing, almost as if the person recording is excited. The last note before the next scene says, "Step 1, show stage," and then it cuts to the show stage. This shot is just of the characters on stage, but a distorted phone call plays during this time, and a Reddit user, Kiwi091238, was able to decode it. Again, shout out to them for doing this, because I could not have. This long-ass phone call says, hopefully I won't mess it up, "Management, thank you. Make sure you get into contact with our insurance to resolve them. Lastly, if you have any questions or issues regarding this notice, as we cannot afford to decommission any more characters at the current time, it's in the best interest of everyone working at this establishment to follow these guidelines. Don't attempt to clean or inspect any unusual material left on the F. Don't touch, move, push, pull, manipulate, or tamper with F in any way. Don't allow any foreign body parts near F. Don't make any sudden movements while in view of the F. Don't stand on elevated platforms used by F. Don't make direct eye contact with F. Don't stand in front of or directly behind F. And for your own safety, always keep in mind the following guidelines regarding staff with the animatronic F. Please limit any and all interactions between patrons and the main act to only reliable and well-tested performance routines. All scheduled character shows and events are to be put on hold indefinitely due to the events that have transpired this evening. Notice to staff." Referring to an unidentified figure as F obviously leads you to think of Freddy, but because of teaser number 5, I think it's referring to Foxy. I did also come to the realization, while editing this, that this is also likely why Foxy never gets fixed. This was never explained in FNAF 1, but it didn't necessarily have to be. But in FNAF Plus, it seems that there's going to be an explanation as to why Foxy is the only one that's never fixed up. It's not just because they're cheap, although that's a solid assumption. It's because they don't even want to touch it. They don't want to get near it. That's why Foxy remains broken. And since it says, "due to the events that have transpired this evening," I think this recording and these guidelines came up after the events of this teaser, specifically the final moment of this teaser, which if you've seen, you know why I think that. It then cuts back to the perspective of the one that broke in. They take a look at the characters, and I really love this scene because of the fact that we get a good look at these models. The protagonist uses the ghost detector, and it just starts playing music, so not a whole lot happens in this moment. The next shot is of the security camera by the entrance/exit. It shows a bunch of characters on screen, and the line moves to the left as the characters change. I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't want to figure this out myself, so shout out to Reddit user Skrunklemadunk for doing this for me. Your name is great. And I'm glad I didn't do this myself, because this is what it is. I can't make sense of this, but I will read what the Reddit user that originally posted this said they thought it was. Blank in the 7 chambers, there stalked a multitude of dreams and these blank, taking hue from the rooms and causing the blank music of the orchestra to blank blank. There strikes the ebony clock which stands in the hall of the velvets, and then for a moment all is still and all is silent, save the voice of the clock. The dreams are stiff, frozen as they stand, but the echoes of the chime die? Give? Who knows? Away they have endured but an instant and a light half blank. Laughter floats after them as they depart, and now again the music swells blank. Dreams live and writhe to and blank. Answer? Taking hue blank. The many tinted windows through which system the rays from the tripods, but to the chamber which lies most westward of the 7 there are now none of the maskers who venture for the night is waning away, and there flows a blank light through the blood-colored pane, sand the blackness of the blank, sand to him whose foot falls upon the sable carpet, there comes from the near clock of ebony, muffled, peal more solemn, blank. Any which reaches their ears who indulge in the more remote gate blank of the other apartments, but these other apartments were densely crowded, and in them beat feverishly the heart of live, and the revel went whirling blank, until at length they recommenced the sounding of midnight upon the clock, and then the music ceased as I have to blank, and the evolution of the waltz blank were quieted, and there was an uneasy cessation of all things as before blank. Now there were 12 strokes to be sounded by the bell of the clock, and thus it happened perhaps that more of thought crept with more of time into the meditations of the thoughtful among those who revel blank leg. And thus too it happened perhaps that before the last echoes of the last chime had utterly sunk into silence, there were many individuals in the crowd who had found. That was so hard to read. I would love to give some 400 IQ explanation as to what the fuck this probably means, but I have nothing. It certainly sounds like it'd be poetic if it was coherent with phrases like, there were 12 strokes to be sounded by the bell of the clock, and thus it happened perhaps the more of thought crept with more of time in the meditations of the thoughtful among those who revel. Again, that's basically gibberish, but it almost sounds like something. Let me know what your interpretations of this in the comments are, because I have nothing to offer. I really want to have something. I at least provided the information, and by that I mean I copied someone else. Thank you so much once again. Just let me know what you think. I'm lost. We then cut back to the teaser's protagonist and their notes. Their next step is to inspect Pirate's Cove. They once again use the ghost detector, which plays nothing but music, so again, this scene doesn't really present much to analyze. I do like the way the setting looks though, which I did mention briefly earlier. The curtains have a nice texture that looks like real fabric, and the overall design of Pirate's Cove looks great. The next shot is of the hallway with the iconic Freddy poster, and the secret here is in the bottom right, where the recording time is displayed. Again, I'm really sorry, but I was not about to figure this out on my own. I don't have that time. But Reddit user Little Lego Guy was nice enough to do my job for me. I love Reddit. I will be linking these posts in the description below though. Honestly, like, I'm joking about it, but this was very helpful, and I legitimately did not have the time to piece all of these together by myself. So thank you so much to the community. They decoded it to say this. I will just put the text on screen. I'm not going to read this one aloud. But I will read the start of the lines. It goes, wake up, look around, audience greeting, small talk, friendly laugh, birthday jingle, waving loop, something loop, start show, holiday special, safety protocol, manual control override, and they all end with performance D pass available, except for the two ones above the last one say D fail restricted. So the safety protocol maintenance failed? That's not good. It seems to be the actions and routines built into the animatronics, or at least Freddy. The first 5 are what we see in Freddy's routine checkup in teaser number 2, and the rest look like basic tasks that Freddy would be programmed to do. Again, since it says safety protocol, maintenance, defailed, restricted, I'm assuming that's, meant to be, ooh, big spooky, because safety protocols apparently are not currently functioning. After this little secret, we cut back to the investigation that has moved on to the security office. This is where shit gets real. Our clip before the protagonist gets to the security office is of the hallway, and once again, text flashes on screen. I decided to be fair, and once again, I pieced this shit together myself. The bar on YouTube actually got in the way of the text a few times, so I'm sorry about that. Here it is. I would love to say I know what all this means, but I don't. It seems like it's a conversation between 2 people. I think it's meant to be Afton luring in a victim, because one of the 2 people is clearly a child, and the other seems to work at Freddy's. But there is nothing deciphering which is which, and this is just an assumption, honestly, based on the text. Here are some of the lines that I think match. A is the adult that works at Freddy's, and B is the kid. But this is literally just an assumption, and all of these ones on screen are not included in the screen prior. I don't know if I even got any of them right, and I don't know where these lines match up. Here's who I think is saying these lines, but I don't even know that for sure. Here are all the lines. I will put them on screen. Let me know what you guys think. Try to decipher this if you want. I really wish I had more of an answer, but hopefully my theory is right, and that can at least help. I think this is a conversation between 2 people, one being a worker at Freddy's, and one being a kid. And hopefully some of the ones that I pieced together on this screen are at least somewhat correct. I'm real sorry, but this is the best I could do. The rest of the teaser is fairly straightforward, so thank God we can take a little break from the insanity. Our protagonist takes a look around the office, which looks absolutely amazing. This short exploration of the room ends with Foxy looking through the door and the screen getting all glitchy. The investigator then makes a run for it and hides in a spare parts room. That's why I said this was also who ran into the room earlier in the teaser. The person, when they get into the spare parts room, seems to drop and/or break one of the suits, so yeah, they're about to die. Foxy then approaches the door and tries to get in, and our investigator has to try to stop him. But the door gets opened, and we get a look at the puppet. The teaser ends with a shot of a security camera. I believe this is just meant to show that the events were caught on camera, because when we move on to 6B in a minute, that will be important. So I believe this camera is shown just to show that everything we just saw is caught on camera. That's the end of teaser number 6. If you want a theory based on the events of this one and some of the others, check out my last video because I think it's pretty interesting. Some information on who this individual is and what happens to them. I think this is a great teaser. I just want to get that out there. And yeah, I pieced together some small things, and hopefully I'm right about it. So check out my last video if you want a theory. We have finally reached the final teaser, which once again used to be a total mystery to even get to, but that is no longer the case. This teaser shows an ad in the paper from Fazbear Entertainment in need of a new night guard. It reads, "Local pizzeria in need of a night watchman to guard premises from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m., Monday through Friday with possibility for overtime. Little to no previous work experience required. Must watch cameras, ensure the safety of company property. Includes free pizza voucher for consultation for first week on the job. Not liable for bruising, mutilation, and something else." And then the contact information to contact the pizzeria. So this is a pretty neat teaser, even if it doesn't give that much. But the description is the more interesting part in my opinion. It reads, "Local pizzeria at the center of controversy yet again. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is back in the public eye this year, but not for the reasons they had hoped, as the small business was dragged into a torrent of anger and suspicion due to alleged ties to the disappearance of a local high school student on October 9th. The young teen, known to friends as a hobbyist filmmaker and described by some as a quiet but well-mannered soul, was reported missing the morning after leaving home to meet up with someone for a new project that, according to family, involved the restaurant's infamous string of incidents and general dark reputation. When pressed for comment, an intern at the establishment stated, "We really had nothing to do with it. Our surveillance cameras showed no one entering or leaving the restaurant that night." An answer that did nothing but grow more suspicion, as access to the aforementioned footage was immediately denied to the public. Town residents were further outraged the following week as they found multiple job flyers for the restaurant being left at their doorsteps. I just personally really like this because I find it interesting how different people interpret Fazbear Entertainment's response to controversies. And like I said, the final shot of teaser number 6 was of a security camera, and again I think that is just to show that everything was caught on camera, as the intern admitted. I like the way you can tell the intern spoke in a panicked voice despite it just being text. The only times I can think of Fazbear Entertainment actually speaking on these situations was Phone Guy in FNAF 1 and 2, and the intercom saying they were childish stories and help wanted. I'm really interested in seeing how the developer plans to explore the lore and branch out into different directions. That's the end of this video, finally! I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was an absolute pain to get through, but I am very excited for this game, so I do enjoy discussing it. Let me know what you guys think of FNAF Plus so far. I'm not sure if there will be any videos on the subject for a while, but we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. My god, this took so long. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.